Okay, we're going to take a look at You Really Got Me, which was the debut album for Van Halen and can be found on Van Halen 1. And we're going to kick things off with a look at the main guitar riff, the intro riff. So I'll play it for you first of all, and then we'll break it down. Here we go. Okay, the first thing to notice about this riff compared to the original is that Eddie plays it in the key of A as opposed to the key of G, which makes it a little bit easier to perform because instead of having to move a bar chord by a whole tone, we simply hold the A5 chord in the open position and then play the G note implying the G chord on the 3rd fret of the bottom E. So you're playing open at A and then 2nd fret D, 2nd fret G. We've got 2 hits on that. And then we play the 3rd fret of the E, which is the G note, and then back to the A chord. We actually start off with that G note on the 3rd fret E. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then in between the chords, we have some little rhythmic mutes, just 16ths, just a, so. Okay, then when the band kicks in for the next part of the intro, obviously that first section was just Eddie on his own. For that part, you're adding more mutes in between the chords, but instead of being 16th notes, a 16th note rhythm, these are 8th notes, so it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the final G note, we strike that and then just bend that, pull it down by a whole tone and then release it back to the G note and add a bit of vibrato to it. So here's the whole of the introduction now played at a slightly slower tempo. It's up to you how you perform it with your picking hand, whether you want to use downstrokes or whether you want to use some alternate strumming. So 2, 3, 4. I tend to go between the two actually. I like the kind of groove of using alternate strumming versus all the downstrokes. I think sometimes with downstrokes it can push the groove a little bit, but I'll leave that up to you. Here we go anyway, a slow tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we're going to take a look at the verse now. Although the riffs are pretty much the same throughout, just changing between different chords from the chord of A up to B and then finally up to E. We're going to take it that the riff played in the A chord is going to be the verse. When we go to the B chord, we'll call that the pre-chorus, and then we go up to the E chord, then we'll call that the chorus. So let's take a look at the verse riff now, and I'll play it up to speed. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, pretty much the same riff that we've already seen, just starting off on the A chord. A bit more palm muting now, so a little bit more subdued in terms of the performance, not obviously with all the mutes in between, so really watch the dynamics here. So then we pre-bend 4 on the G string up a whole tone, so we're in A major pentatonic, release that, and then we just simply walk down the scale. So that's 4 to 2 on the G, and then 4, 3, 2 on the D, and then 4 on the A, and then play 2 on the A, bend it a semitone, and then back. So you get... Okay, when you're playing that little lick as well, really try and dig in with the pick so that you get some of the pinched harmonics and the partial harmonics as well. Eddie had quite a crunchy sound on this track, quite a bit of top end, which really does help those harmonics jump out. Okay, then on to the next part of the riff. We're still carrying on with the palm muted A, being quite light with this hand. Remember, the harder I hit, the more distorted the guitar sound is. So back off with how hard you're striking the strings. You know, be very dynamic with this hand, which will obviously make the builds as we climb through the track more noticeable. So back to the A chord. Now we jump up to familiar A minor pentatonic at the 7th fret, and we pre-bend that. And we kind of let it down a little bit and then re-push it back up to pitch with a nice harmonic. And then we got 5 to 7 on the G, 5, 7 on the D, 5, 7 on the A, and then hammer 3 to 5 on the A. Okay, so I'll play that whole section through for you nice and slowly so you can play along. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the pre-chorus, or the bridge section if you like, and we've moved up to the chord of B, and we start to get a little bit more intense now with the way that we're playing. Dynamically, it's a little bit more, we've climbed a little bit, so I'll play it through for you. Here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you're just playing the B5 chord at the 2nd fret. So that's 2nd fret A, 4th fret D, then down to an A5. Again, it's debatable whether we actually played an A5. Occasionally, when I really slowed it down and isolated the part, you could hear that F sharp note dropping down to an E, which obviously is consistent with changing between the chords of B5 and A5. But then other times it sounded like he simply took his first finger away and played an open A string. So I'll leave that up to you, whichever you find easiest and prefer the sound of, I guess. I was doing it more of like that, and then we climb up to a D5 at the 7th fret. The 5th fret, and we move up a semitone to E flat, climbing up to the E5 chord. Okay, I'm going to play the next section through for you, which is our chorus. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, for that section, we're going between E5 and D5. So just 7th fret, A, 9th fret D, and we're simply dropping down by a whole tone. So like so. As we move into the You Really Got Me vocal line, we actually play more of a major chord, so you're catching a lot more of the chord, even the 3rd. So now we have that little blues lick where we jump down to the 3rd fret E, and we play the open E, 3rd fret E, 2nd fret D, then the open E, then we're back up to the E chord, to D, and then we take the E note on the 9th fret of the G and we bend it up a minor third to the G note, so 9 up to 12, and then we finish off with a D5. You can play it there or wherever. I quite like the sound of it as an open position chord, and then nice big pick scrape. What I'm going to do now is play the bridge section or the pre-chorus into the chorus at a slow tempo so that you can try playing the two sections together. 1, 2, 3, 4.